Hi everyone, it's Kel. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm here to talk to you about the endocrine system and healing in a nutshell, okay? And this is from a mystic's perspective. It's been a while since I posted a video. I had a friend come visit from San Diego, and then we had some things happen on the farm, so I'm just getting back to it now. So nice to have you here. When we talk about the human body, we have to remember a couple of things. Number one, the organs are fueling the way to development. They are processing the energy. And when we don't follow or feel the impulses that they create, we're cut off. And all of our organs are formed, and everything within us and everything we see is formed by sun and moon energy, which is driving the lymphatic system. The sun is mind, the father force. This is enlightenment. He is the administrator to the mother, who is moon energy, which is love, receptivity, and togetherness. And they form and feed everything in the body. And nothing happens unless the mother says yes. So remember, the mother force of your system is the boss. The mother is always the boss. And when she isn't in control, then something goes askew. Okay, so, and today I really wanted to talk about the heart. I want to talk about the chakras, the basic overall mental and physical needs that we have, the organs, which are more detailed, and they actually relate to the chakras. The organs, there's a group of them that belong to each level of what is called chakras. Chakras is Sanskrit for spinning wheels, and actually each chakra that you have relates to a planet, and the planets also are sort of spinning wheels. And these forces inside of you, everything is spinning, everything, everywhere. But just remember that it is the center that power flows from, and this is what focus does. When you focus the mind, it drives all energy to the center, and when it drives it all to the center, it can align above and below. So the organs, there are organs, groups of organs for each chakra level, and then there are connections between all of the organs. Of course, everything is interconnected. Each organ has a basic mix of 5 connections, and all of them individually connect to the center, which is love. It's that receptive force. And when love, either between them or to the center, is cut off, that's when illness happens, because love is health. And how far along you are in illness really tells you metaphysically. There is a grid system. There is not only a grid system in the body, but everything in the body metaphysically relates to a way of thinking. So how far along you are in illness tells you metaphysically kind of the direction to where to look for love, to repair that part of you. So today and this is all in a super nutshell. The heart chakra is the one we're going to talk about today. So this level is the heart chakra, which is composed of the heart and its 5 connections to 5 other organs, and we'll take a look at that. The heart chakra also has a ruling gland, and its ruling gland and its connections, like, it operates as a whole, and then this whole connects to the other holes in the body, so that you have all these systems all working together, a fantastic machine. So the heart chakra is always searching for ways to open up that will please you. You know, it's truly about peace, love, unity, sharing. And the message of the heart is really to accept life, okay? To accept life and to accept the oneness of life, the interconnectivity of life. The gland, its ruling gland that I was just I just mentioned, its ruling gland is the thymus gland. And when we're happy and we're expressing love, this thymus gland functions well. It secretes hormones that keep the heart active. And when we're not happy, this gland becomes underactive and begins to fail to thrive. And one way you can actually stimulate the thymus is by thumping on the chest. You know, primates do this. And when you thump on the chest, you stimulate it. So you get, it stimulates things to start becoming more active again. Now, posterior, on the spine, can you see this on the board? I don't think so. So you've got your spine and you've got your heart here. And then posterior the heart, you have the thoracic vertebrae. And this side of the heart is when the heart goes into a certain amount of shadow and pain and extended pain when we are unhappy, and we'll look at this today. So pain in this area can also reveal poor posture, and when you think about it, when you are sort of, you know, gloomy or down, we do tend to have bad posture. So the body is always telling the story in a variety of ways of where the mind is at. The body is always the teacher, helping you know where your mind is at, because the mind is the child, and it is learning to follow the body. So pain here that can happen in the heart or posterior heart can be from prolonged emotional heartache. When the heart shadow grows, we'll talk about the mental aspects that are associated with that. You can boost the thymus gland, which feeds these functions and this area, by boosting the immune system. So foods rich in vitamin C, like citrus fruits and oranges, or foods rich in zinc, which are like oysters and crab and things like that. Foods rich in vitamin A, leafy vegetables, kale, etc. Foods rich in selenium, like Brazil nuts. So you can use nature that way to help balance this area out. But there are a lot of ways. It's not just one way. You know, we are all trying daily to kind of balance ourselves out. So it's, you know, the things that we put into our body, it's the exercise, it's the way we think, it's the deeds we do, the actions and activities. You know, it's all of these things to become a balanced individual. So as I mentioned earlier, the heart chakra is really the home of divine. And so the way to nourish this area is by spending time in the beauty of nature, breathing clean air, finding serenity, connecting to others, because love heals us and is really our highest purpose, to love through its many forms. And then we have the heart as an organ. So we have the heart chakra here, and then we have the leading organ, which is the heart as an organ. And the heart contains thoughts and beliefs around self-expression. So it is the cells of the heart that contain thoughts and beliefs around self-expression and how you present and express yourself outwardly to others. So personality, creativity, the highest truth of you, and how you give of yourself. So the heart has mental aspects, and here's what you may need to work on mentally to get your connection to open up again, to get out of any kind of pain that's in the front part of your heart or posterior heart. And these things have to do with self-expression. So it's moving towards authentic individuality. Having a willingness to take center stage in your own life, because when your heart chakra is closed and when you're experiencing pain, you are denying life itself. And we can get ourselves into these states. I know that when I came out of meditation, for sure, the reason why I went into it, because I was denying life. And when I came out of it, I completely went further into denying the natural course of my life. through a variety of things that I believed and continue to think about. So moving towards individuality, taking center stage in your own life, I mean, that's really critical. Identifying true desires and following them, trying to attain them. And this can be difficult too, really identifying your heart's true desires. Strengthening your willpower, I think that's absolutely critical. But I think the one thing that matters the most really is having enthusiasm for your life. And really, when you think about it, when you're a human, oh my God, after enlightenment, you know how far you've come. And believe me, you have come a long way. From a little twinkle to a darkness in the void, growing up from nothing to become a human over lifetimes. It's an incredible journey that you've already had, and you can thank yourself for having the tenacity, the power, and the willingness and the want to get to this point. It's phenomenal. I mean, truly. Creating more self-confidence through feeding yourself joys is also critical. And taking risks that could end up benefiting you is critical, because taking risks can be very, very fun, and it gives you a boost of the vitality that you need. And when we look at the organs, you'll see why vitality is critical. Relating to the childlike quality in others. I mean, really, that's having fun, right? Enjoying life by simply having fun doing things you enjoy doing, not trying to criticize or, oh, it's not this or it's not that, but kind of being okay with things and just tippy-toeing your way into joy so that, you know, you become loose and limber again. For me, that was a real tricky deal, and I'm still involved in it. Looking at life as a game, I mean, I think that that's critical, because there's so, I think well, I was going to say there's so much stuff around measuring people by what they have or who they are, but really, when you understand life as a game, you realize that there is so much more, and that is a very limited way of seeing things, because again, and I know I've mentioned this in other videos, we've got all of life in the universe. Let's just imagine it's on this invisible pendulum right here, and all that light, it's all light, is invisible except for a teeny weeny little portion in the center, and that teeny weeny little portion is bright light, and that's where the prism of colors are. And it's here that science is built. It's here. It's not in here. All of this invisible stuff is supporting what science is measuring and having all these really specific ideas about. But when you really have the grand view, you realize that this little view here is just a house of cards, and that there is so much more. And when you really get into the circle and the components of the circle that make a human being happy, it's really about being connected in so many ways. We'll talk about the 12 components of the circle. You already know them, but maybe you haven't considered them all in a circle, and we'll look at those 12 components on another video. But it's all these things that people consider unimportant that become very important. And I know when I remove myself, which I've done many times, remove myself from my life in one world, I took away the very things that made me happy every day that I didn't realize, you know, having my own space, having my ritual of tea in the morning with my cat, you know, having the neighbors over, like all these little things that I never thought about. I mean, I was completely, had a big wake-up call when I moved across the globe and I didn't have any of this. So it's the little things in life that really sustain you. And looking at life as a game, how can I feed myself joy in this game on a daily, moment-to-moment basis, is also a good way to look at things when you're trying to boost the heart chakra, the heart region, the thymus gland, which is the part of the endocrine system that feeds this area of the body. Now, also developing and it's up to me attitude when it comes to finding joys. Like, it's not up to other people. It's not for them to be a certain way. It's not that they need to do this, that, and the other in order to make you happy. It's really up to you to find your joys, to make the changes you need to make, and to be brave and willing to go out into the world to become the person that you were born to be. And it's not that you're not that person already, but deep down, I think many of us, because we are so assaulted by media, there is confusion as to what will make us happy. And that's why meditation is so important, taking that silence every day and sometimes twice a day or more. So when the shadow of the heart is revealed, there are some things that you might want to consider stop doing. And remember, this is all in a nutshell. This is all a super nutshell version of this area in your special body, okay? And it means different things to many people, but these are the basic things that all these things in this area will relate to. So when the shadow of the heart is revealed, some of the things that we need to stop doing in order to make this area, the front and the back, come into balance and begin to open up again, is yielding to peer pressure in order to belong. I know that that can sometimes really take a toll on the heart. So yielding to peer pressure in order to belong, getting rid of that is critical. Detaching from emotional situations that drain you is another one. And sometimes we end up in this game where we're always blaming ourselves for not getting along with these people, or not doing what other people want, or not being able to sustain these situations in a particular fashion. Like, quit the self-blame. I mean, we just don't have time for that. We've got to start changing tracks to feed ourselves healthy energy. And that changes from person to person. So detaching from those emotional situations that drain you. I know that's tough. And I know that all these things I'm saying can sometimes just sound so light. And sometimes they're a really big step to make. And sometimes it means stepping away from, the family unit or whatever family you belong to. And I know that that is a brave path and sometimes tricky. So I'm not saying these words lightly. Get away from being aloof. Get right away from being emotionally distancing yourself from others, because maybe you're trying to protect yourself. I know I've done this a lot in the past, but it's just such a waste of time too. So emotionally distancing yourself from others, forget about it. When you're there and you're with them in the moment, just throw yourself into it if you can. I've done that even though my mind is preoccupied. Remember, the mind is always the problem. The mind is what's causing the problem in the body, and the body is trying to tell you where and what that is. Another thing that really affects the heart is when you're overlooking what is really going on around you. Like, if you're living in this, religious utopia, and I'm speaking from experience here, and if you're really sort of shutting a blind eye or having some sort of religious overlay as to why everything is happening and therefore blah, 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 forget about all that. Just accept what's happening in a real fundamental fashion and take real practical measures. That is what is really going to help you align. Another thing is waiting for more knowledge before you take action on anything. And again, I'm talking from experience. you know, always waiting for more. I waited 12 years before I started even talking about any of this, where really it would have been great if I had started very early and shared everything all up, because now I have this massive amount of information that's kind of, how do you say, going nowhere. It's just sitting there, and it's almost too daunting to dive into. And just in general, waiting for more knowledge before taking action. Like, I know somebody like that, and it takes him years and years and years to do like a simple transaction. And I mean, I know this person very, very well. And, you know, I start becoming that way myself. And I find that it's so life inhibiting. Like, it so takes away from just the joy of everyday living. If you want to try something, get out there and just try it. There's nothing more revealing than trying something and falling flat on your face. And I learn more by falling flat on my face than I do waiting for the right moment. And I mean, take this all with a grain of salt. I'm a little bit, I like to throw myself into things, and at a moment's notice. That I've noticed in the last few years, as I've been having problems with this area in my body, that I have become more knowledge oriented, like, oh gee, I wonder what if, and what if, and what if. If you forget about all the what ifs, and you have just a bit of a practical understanding, and you take action, you learn so much through the action. So trying to move in that direction, not trying to pile up the knowledge forever and forever. Another thing, and especially when you get into the realm of the mind, this is excessive daydreaming. Excessive daydreaming about the moon, the stars, and all of this stuff that isn't always helping you on a practical level in your life. Excessive daydreaming, and through a variety of maybe apps or videos on YouTube, or, you know, can become a real issue, because it's pulling you away from the here and the right now. And it's moving you more into the critical mind rather than living in the body. And when you live in the body, you get happy. And when you live in the mind, it's just, you're in the labyrinth. And when you're in the labyrinth, it is doing a variety of things. And one of them is constantly weighing everything and being overly critical, and because the mind always thinks it knows, and believe me, it does not know. Another thing is running away from confrontations. This really affects the heart region. Remember, these are all the mental aspects. These are all the mental aspects. Running away from confrontation. So you get into situations where maybe a group of people or a person, or who knows, does not believe in your ideology or whatever is going on with you in some way and fashion. And you know, we tend to want to run away from the confrontation rather than kind of stand our ground, or just be firm and respond and then carry on with our life. Running away from confrontations takes a lot of energy. And once you develop this habit, it can go on for years and years and years and years. And like I said, I'm speaking from experience. These are all things that I did for years and years and years. So running away from confrontations is not going, it'll temporarily make you feel good. And then the aftermath of that will be, oh, okay, well, what do I do now? And it's a lot of energy to do the running, and it's a lot of energy to replant yourself somewhere else. So kind of standing your ground and having a realistic, really grounded look at your life and what is practical is going to really be the more helpful thing for you to get that heart reconnected, grounded, and pumping in and receiving love and giving love. This whole thing, this pumping in and this letting out, because that's what it wants to do. It wants to self-express, 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 be with others, relate to others, have others relate to us. That's what this area in the body wants. So all these things, among others, can, in the things that I just spoke about, can inhibit your life negatively. And again, I said this before, create a denial of life itself, because life wants to flow through you. It doesn't want you to stop it. When we deny the life around us, we deny the flow of life through our bodies, and we deploy it of nutrients that metaphysically relate to our way of thinking. So what we really want is to receive love, to receive vitality. And the easiest way we can begin this is to give love first. And the easiest way we can do this first is by just cheering people up through your self-expression. Cheering people up through your self-expression. And that can happen easily on a day-to-day level. And the more you do that, the better you feel, and the more the heart starts to adjust, because it's the easiest way to get that self-expression moving is through cheering other people up. So you know how to make others happy. You do. And when you give joy, you feel included. So follow your impulses, because this area, even though it has shut down, it's still trying to give off the impulses. So the closer we can feel a little bit and just kind of go with it, the more we can tell this area that we trust it and it's okay, and to let go and to flow again. And you'll know it, because when you're having fun, you'll know you're on track. When you're making people happy, it just feels right, and you know that feeling right. So you win when you actively create the results you want and take center stage in your own life. I mean, that's absolutely critical. Taking center stage in your own life and full responsibility for it. So the heart chakra is also composed of connections to the heart, which I spoke of earlier, and they all play a part too, because all these connections have a mental aspect, a way of thinking that relates to each of them. And there are 5 connections to the heart, and these connections, well, are all a little bit different. So the heart connects to the large intestine, and the large intestine wants you to self-express every day in your daily habits. So doing things that you like every day. And you know, one thing I want to say right now is quit the self-criticism, because it doesn't make you feel good and it really gets you nowhere. So yeah, begin to make your large intestine happy by having self-expression radiate through your daily habits. If you can even just do one thing every day that really gives you a boost in how you express, then that's a good place to start. Your lungs, they want goals that are going to stimulate your self-expression. That's what your lungs want. They're all about goals and getting what they need. So getting what you need. So getting goals that stimulate your self-expression. Your gallbladder is the next one, and it's interested in how your self-expression plays out sort of in the big picture of things. So if you can see sort of how your self-expression can play out in a bigger picture. So if you're in a group of people and they say, oh, let's all divvy up the task, and you have one task that you particularly like doing, you can put up your hand and say, gee, you know, I'll take that task. And that is aligning with your self-expression, doing something that you can share, that you like to do. Your circulation obviously is going to be a connection to your heart, and this connection mentally wants you to connect in the community to find things that stimulate happiness for you and fuel your self-expression. Okay, so as you go through the community, you can look at all these things and talk to people about them, about what you're interested in doing or what they're doing, and think to yourself, how can that work for me? And This kind of interaction makes the circulation happy and speed up its circulation. Okay, so that's the mental aspect of circulation. It's connecting to the community to find things that stimulate happiness for you and fuel your self-expression. Now, earlier I talked about vitality, and it's your kidneys that want to garner vitality through your self-expression. So the more happiness you're having with your self-expression, the more you're fueling your kidneys. That's what they're interested in. So, you know, this is really just the nutshell version of the mental grid system of your body. And there are a variety of ways to balance it out. And I like to advocate speech, deeds, actions, and thoughts. And you can also use nature's remedies. You can use the 4 directions. I think I have a video on that somewhere. You can use the 4 elements. Got a video somewhere on that. And when it comes to speech, you can use specific affirmations such as, I bravely express my truth to the world. I mean, you could use something like that. Or you could use something like, I am secure and joyful in my self-expression. You can use something like that. You can make your own and just repeat it over and over to you daily. And then you'll be surprised at the little things that come up. Oh, do this, or oh, go here. Oh, isn't that interesting? The body's going to bring you, without a lot of thinking, into the areas that you need. So try not to have resistance when those things, because I know I do. And when I'm not resistant, they just keep presenting themselves, and I go, okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, you can use specific affirmations, you can use meditations, artwork, body work, and exercise, really critical. I mean, really critical to exercise, because that's kind of a no-brainer. The brain just shuts down and the exercise goes, and when the brain shuts down, that's when you get to rest it, and then you feel so good because the brain is being rested. The brain, I should say the mind, because what we're talking about is mind, and mind just doesn't exist in the brain. It exists all through the body. It's just the king and queen of the mind exist in the brain, but it exists everywhere, and that's, we're talking about the mind in certain organs and in certain locations in the body right now. So it's the mind we're talking about, which is out of alignment. So all of these things reunite the mind and body to become one again. And this is the marriage of the mother and father forces to produce a star child. Because remember, you are a being of light, intelligent illumination that is heart-centered. That's what you are. You are intelligent illumination that is heart-centered. So I hope this video helped you. I hoped it gave you some kind of insight into what is going on in the body and how the body actually stores all your thoughts and beliefs within it, and it stores them in certain organs and at certain levels of the body. And you can go in there and you can revise them all to create health and wellness. I hope this helps, and I'd love to hear your comments and anything you might be struggling with. Please go ahead, post below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your thoughts and anything that you feel like sharing. So thanks again. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching, and take care.